Have you ever loved someone so deeply that losing them felt like losing yourself? Have you ever wondered why God allowed you to pour your heart into someone who was never meant to stay? You prayed for them, fought for them, believed in a future that crumbled before your eyes. And when it ended, you didn't just lose a person. You lost your peace, your hope, and maybe even your faith in love itself. But what if I told you that heartbreak wasn't God's cruelty? What if that devastating loss was actually His mercy? What if the love that broke you was never meant to complete you, but to prepare you? Today, we're going to explore a truth that will revolutionize how you see your past relationships and transform how you approach your future. Because sometimes, God lets you grieve the wrong love first, so you can recognize the right love when it arrives. This isn't about settling or accepting less. This is about understanding that every tear you've cried, every sleepless night you've endured, and every prayer you've whispered through the pain has been shaping you for something extraordinary. So if your heart is still healing, if you're still questioning why love has felt more like loss, lean in. This message might just be the revelation your soul has been waiting for. First, understand this profound truth. God allows you to experience the wrong love because it reveals what your heart truly needs versus what it thinks it wants. There's a vast difference between desire and design, between chemistry and covenant, between what feels good and what is genuinely good for you. When you love someone who isn't meant for you, your heart learns lessons that no sermon could teach and no book could explain. You discover the difference between being chosen and being an option. You learn what it feels like when someone loves your presence but not your purpose. You experience the exhaustion of trying to convince someone to value what God has already declared precious. This painful education isn't punishment, it's preparation. Because when the right love arrives, you won't confuse intensity for intimacy or passion for purpose. You won't mistake someone who excites you for someone who completes you. The wrong love teaches you to discern the difference between someone who wants you and someone who wants God's best for you. Think, heat, and careful cutting all the impurities and rough a precious stone, a master jeweler sets edges. The process. It requires pressure isn't gentle, they must first remove about it this way. Before. But each strike of the hammer, each application of heat, each precise cut is purposeful. It's not destroying the stone. It's revealing its true beauty and preparing it for the perfect setting. Your heart is that precious stone. And every wrong relationship, every painful goodbye, every moment of rejection has been God's way of refining you. He's been removing the impurities of desperation, the rough edges of compromise, and the false beliefs about what love should look. Your heart taught you what like. The person who broke you won't tolerate again. They showed you the red flags you'll never ignore. They revealed the places in your soul that needed healing before you could love from a place of wholeness rather than emptiness. And though it hurt beyond measure, they gave you the gift of clarity. Here's what the enemy doesn't want you to understand. Your grief over the wrong love is actually evidence of your capacity for the right love. The depth of your pain reveals the depth of your heart's ability to love. God didn't give you that capacity to waste it on someone unworthy. He gave it to you because He has someone worthy waiting. But here's the crucial part. You had to experience the counterfeit to recognize the authentic. You had to feel what it's like when love is one-sided to appreciate when it becomes mutual. You had to know the anxiety of uncertain love to treasure the peace of secure love. You had to walk through the wilderness of wrong relationships to appreciate the promised land of the right one. Every tear you cried over someone who didn't choose you was watering the soil of your heart for someone who will. Every prayer you prayed for a relationship that wasn't meant to be was actually preparing you for the relationship that is. And every night you went to bed with a broken heart was another step closer to the morning when your heart would be whole again. Not because someone completed it, but because God had healed it. Second, God uses wrong love to teach you the sacred art of letting go. Before you can hold the right thing, you must release your grip on the wrong thing. But letting go isn't just about saying goodbye to a person. It's about surrendering the version of your future that included them, releasing the dreams you built together, and accepting that your story is being rewritten by a hand far wiser than your own. The wrong love clings because it feels familiar. It becomes comfortable even when it's destructive. You know the patterns, the cycles, the false hope that this time will be different. But God will allow that relationship to become so uncomfortable, so draining, so clearly misaligned that staying becomes more painful than leaving. He loves you too much to let you settle for a love that diminishes you. When you finally walk away from what's wrong, you create space for what's right. But that space feels terrifying at first. You've grown accustomed to chaos masquerading as passion, to uncertainty disguised as excitement. Peace feels foreign when you've been living in emotional turbulence. Silence feels empty when you've been addicted to drama. This is where many people make the mistake of rushing back to familiar dysfunction rather than trusting unfamiliar peace. They mistake the absence of chaos for the absence of love. But God is teaching you that real love doesn't require you to lose yourself to find it. Real love doesn't demand that you shrink to make someone else comfortable. Real love doesn't leave you questioning your worth. Third, wrong love strips away your illusions about romance and reveals the foundation of covenant. The world sells you fairy tales, but God is preparing you for something far more substantial. Movies and songs paint love as an emotion that conquers all, but mature love is a choice that's made daily, especially when emotions fluctuate. The wrong relationship teaches you that butterflies eventually land, that sparks eventually dim, and that feelings alone cannot sustain a lifetime commitment. You learn that compatibility matters more than chemistry, that shared values matter more than shared interests, and that someone's character in the dark reveals more than their charm in the light. You discover that love without God at the center becomes an idol that will eventually disappoint you. Two broken people cannot heal each other. Two lost souls cannot find their way together. Two empty vessels cannot fill one another. But when both people are rooted in Christ, when both are whole in Him, then love becomes multiplication rather than addition. So, beloved, if you're still nursing wounds from a love that left, if you're still wondering why God allowed your heart to break, hear this truth. Your pain was not pointless, your tears were not wasted, and your heartbreak was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of your preparation. The wrong love didn't happen to you. It happened for you. It was God's classroom where you learned lessons that will protect your future and refine your discernment. Every goodbye that broke you was actually saving you. Every door that closed in your face was God redirecting your steps toward something infinitely better. Stop mourning what was never meant to be and start trusting what is yet to come. The right love won't require you to compromise your peace for their presence. They won't love you in seasons and ignore you in others. When God sends the one He has prepared for you, you won't have to convince them of your worth because they'll see it clearly. You won't have to compete for their attention because you'll already have their heart. Your season of grieving the wrong love is preparing you to receive the right love. And when it arrives, you'll understand why every other door had to close first. You'll see that God wasn't withholding love from you. He was refining it. Trust His process, embrace His timing, and know that your story of a love is far from over. The best chapter is still being written.